How long is this going to
Welcome
fucking
to
take?
Friday Night Party Line. Tonight on the show, we've got Skojo. Hey, Skojo.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, man?
You know, playing a lot of Fallout 4, but otherwise,
Are you
nothing to
trying to acclimate yourself to the frozen wasteland that it must be outside, or?
No, I'm just preparing for when we've all been destroyed in some apocalyptic holocaust.
We also got
Come on.
George. Hey, George.
Evening.
How you doing?
Oh, you know, surviving the ice. It's pretty warm here in the Northeast these past few days. Not too bad.
And we got Churba. Hey, Churbs.
It's true, it's true. It's true, it's true. Hello. I don't know, I'm still a little bit all over the place at the moment.
Okay.
A lot of things have been occurring in a very short span of time.
Really?
Yes.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Are you how is your feeling towards humanity in general, since a lot of things have been occurring?
Pretty good, because I went and did a bit of retail therapy. So, all good.
What'd you
Actually,
get?
yeah, it is. Oh, come here, you fuck. Jesus, wept. New work gloves, fucking
Ooh.
pigskin rubber knuckle guards, and oh, that's why it was rattling around. A fucking catch was open. Whoop, I'm just gonna try and organize this
I love the show
around
and
the
tell.
mic.
I love the show
Yeah.
and tell portions we do sometimes.
And also try and figure out how I can do this without tipping like fucking 5 pounds of high-speed steel into my keyboard.
Well, no,
Whoop.
don't do that. Ooh,
There we go.
A tap set and what are those?
Tap
are those
and
drill
die
bits
set.
too? Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh,
drill bits that are
man.
sized for the holes.
Oh man,
That's
that
fancy.
looks great.
I like it. It has been a long time since I've had a proper tap handle, so...
You're gonna fix so many messed up bolts. It's gonna be
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Oh, yes.
It's gonna be fantastic.
I am enjoying it, and it was a pretty good deal too, so... Well, that can go back on the floor for now, until it goes into my toolbox. Also, your fucking brother-in-law is calling me.
Tell him to go back and sleep. He's sick. Yeah. So we've got some good topics I think tonight. Some things we can look at. First things first. For those of us in the U.S., a government shutdown might be cometh. I don't know if it's actually been. I mean, is it shutting down, Skojo?
It's so freaking happening.
Well, I mean,
I
if we wanna
blame
get
anime.
into it- we want to get into that topic first. I don't
Yeah.
know. We should
Let's
probably
do
wait
it.
till near the end, because then we'll actually have definitive information.
I'm not
Is it?
staying. I'm not doing this till midnight. Fuck that.
No.
Hey,
no.
then maybe we can, maybe the show can shut down at the same time as the US government.
Right?
There you go. Let's see.
No,
Oh,
we're
CNN.
gonna end on time because we don't procrastinate shit like they do.
No, we don't. CNN's
Man.
like, oh, you might be using an eye blocker.
It's like, yeah.
Oh,
I know.
McConnell set the vote proposal at 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Which is right now.
Right
Literally
now.
happening.
Right.
Okay.
Now. All right. Well, we're gonna find
So-
that out. Well,
Before
while
we
Congress
nudge back to that topic, because of something that came up earlier on in another place,
Yes.
I also sat down and worked out it would cost you roughly $45,000 to ensure that every member of Congress and the Senate had a Crunchyroll subscription for the rest of not for the rest of the year, for an entire year.
I feel like that's an okay trade. Keep them occupied so they don't do anything.
And then J-Bance had to throw off my math by saying that, oh, you should probably get them a Netflix and High Dive subscription as well. I'm like, well, yeah, but I thought we would work it out because I'm lazy.
I'm missing the joke here. What are you doing?
We're
another
just
place.
like, in another place, we were joking that the government shutdown is because of anime.
Yeah. which would be great, but yeah. So while the government is deciding whether or not it's going to be it's going to stay online or if it's going to shut down.
It's gonna shut down.
Yeah, probably. Let's talk cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency has been coming up on even my dad's radar recently. About a week or so ago, he asked me, "Hey, so what do you know about Bitcoin?" To which my answer was a very firm no.
What the fuck? Victor, I have to relay something to you really quickly.
What is it?
Would you believe that literally yesterday I was talking to your sister over Skype, just killing a bit of time, like, you know, while your brother-in-law was, you know, coming back. No, he was out on a motorbike ride, so we were just killing a bit of time because I was already on the phone to him and just left the connection open. And I was chatting away, and just like we were chatting about other stuff, and she mentioned, "Oh, have you seen Bitcoin going up?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's alright, it'll crash again soon." And it has now as well.
And it has, yeah.
And I offhandedly mentioned to her, "Hey, what do you reckon the chances are that your father has been asking Victor about how to get into Bitcoin?"
I'm surprised my dad hasn't mentioned anything either.
Yeah, but he was asking me about Bitcoin and then Ethereum, and I was just like, no. It is super volatile. And he's like, but what about mining? Like, they have miners that'll run on your phone, like, all the time. I'm like, no.
Yeah, they will make fucking nothing, because your phone's hash per second is like fuck all.
It is. And
like, give it 5 years, you might be able to afford a bag of chips.
I had my computer just to show him. I had my computer mine Monero overnight for 2 nights, and I made approximately 50 cents worth of Monero.
Oh
not
dear.
Even like, yeah, it's like not even 1 Monero. It's like 0.0001.
I actually had a surprising amount of Bitcoin. Like, not a stunning thousands of dollars kind of amount, but I had a good $200 or $300 worth.
And then what happened?
Simply because, like, back when Bitcoin was still blowing up early on, like, a popular thing was Change Tip on Reddit, and people would just go around throwing out little bits of Bitcoin for good comments. And a couple of people threw me like what is now an absurd amount of Bitcoin, but back then was like basically less than $1 worth of Bitcoin for making good comments. So I was like, yeah, alright. And I just randomly checked my wallet on Coinbase a little while back, and I was like, oh shit! So I immediately invested it all into the only thing I could actually get it to go to, because I couldn't withdraw it, I couldn't cash it out. And I couldn't really spend it, so I ended up sending it to the one service that would actually accept such a small amount, and now I own a surprising amount of mining hardware.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
A couple of hundred gigahashes per second.
What you gonna do with it?
Nothing. I mean, it's not physical hardware, it's basically a lifetime license to someone else's mining hardware. You pay them in
time.
Yeah, you pay them in Bitcoin. They basically buy the hardware and run the hardware for you, skim a percentage off, and then give you the rest. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So I set that up and then promptly forgot to ever check it ever again. But I've remade my initial investment, and now it's just juddering along, fucking doing nothing, generating a tiny amount of coins while I forget about it, so that in like 2 years when I remember Bitcoin exists, I will probably have built up a decent larger amount of Bitcoins than I forgot I had the first time I forgot I had a decent amount of Bitcoins.
At that
Until
point,
the
it'll
Bitcoin-
drop to $100 a Bitcoin or something from 10,000.
Probably, but I'll take a couple of $100 free bucks.
Right.
Considering my initial investment so far has been 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such
Free
a
money.
fucking waste of electricity.
And that's the other thing about it. Mining Bitcoin, mining cryptocurrency in general, is at this point a significant environmental impact.
It's true.
Like it is using so much electricity, particularly in Latin America, that it is actually not only creating an environmental impact, but straining the infrastructure, which is in and of itself kind of ridiculous. But there you have it.
Mostly that they have such flimsy infrastructure.
Yes,
I wouldn't call Chinese infrastructure flimsy. It is surprisingly robust.
Yeah, the Chinese infrastructure is robust. I cannot speak for the Latin American infrastructure, but yeah, it's kind of stupid. And now there's a lot of articles and advice telling baby boomers to go buy Bitcoin.
Oh god.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what this is. This is fucking millennials' revenge for housing prices.
Oh man.
Oh man.
You know,
Sherba, don't tell them that.
Nobody over 35 listens to this. Nobody under 35 listens to this either. But, I mean,
How many listeners do we actually have? Just curious.
It varies.
20.
we max out about like what, 3 or 4,000 sometimes.
Sherba,
Yes.
you're roboting out there, friend.
Robot.
No, you're roboting out. I know the difference between the sound of that comb and you sounding like you're talking, like you've been attached to a ceiling fan or swinging around. But
I know, but I was kind of wondering what it sounded like if I robot and comb at the same time. Does it sound like Voltron having an orgasm?
Oh, it's not so great right now.
not so awesome. No, not so much. New one.
So it's kind of funny on cryptocurrency. Like I was like, oh, I wonder what cryptocurrency news I'll get. The first link is to Popular Science, and it's like how to make a smart investment in cryptocurrency, and it's literally a sponsored like ad, and I'm like, really, Popular Science? Like you're just gonna link me to an article that talks about a course. Like, it's a $479 total, but your bundle for 5 courses is $24 to have lifetime access.
We really need to figure out how to make money on this Bitcoin thing.
Testing. Well,
No,
basically, no, yes,
Still. No.
fuck. Alright,
No, I mean, obviously there's no money to be made actually mining Bitcoin. It's how can we
Acquire it.
manipulate people that are trying to make money on Bitcoin.
Well, clearly we need to rob people and steal their bitcoins.
Oh wow! All that noise was coming from Churba. Holy crap! Oh geez. Well, we could write books telling people how to do Bitcoin things. Do webinars. Webinars are big among baby boomers right now. They love webinars because they just figured out how they work.
The web.
No, you gotta do the go-to meeting. You gotta put in the go-to meeting password. Gotta do that.
Please put the code in.
Please enter your code. The host has muted you. Yeah, so I mean, I think the only great thing about this cryptocurrency thing, apart from as J-Ban says, the invention and concept of blockchain technology,
Yeah.
is that Dogecoin is doing rather well, which I think at this point is less of a joke and more performance art at this point. Because it's got because Dogecoin now has a market value of over $1 billion.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they say.
You're.
That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
it
but
says.
if you look at it though, it has gone progressively down until like the beginning
Wow,
of
mine-
this
mine
year,
still
and then
does
it went up some.
Uh,
Okay.
What was the deal?
how are we?
You're doing better there. What was the deal with the Reddit? Like,
I don't know. It's kind of like what do you mean? Like what about
There's some-
Reddit?
there was some Reddit coin or something that was just like a big scam, like a complete scam. I don't know.
You're still going to
Andrew.
need to differentiate further, I'm afraid.
I know, right?
Maybe just a pinch.
Victor, read the chat window.
I'm getting in here. What do we got here? I've been Walmart team blockchain for food safety. What do we got here?
He's not reading the right chat window.
No,
Am I
he's
not reading the
not,
right
is he?
chat? Oh, hold on a second. Oh, that chat window.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, this is the one that old dude invested into.
What BitConnect is that? Or is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, where is that thing?
Oh, yeah, BitConnect.
So anybody have an idea
Oh,
what it
no.
actually is? Because I was kind of curious why it was such a big deal. I assume it just ripped a bunch of people off.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yup.
Well, Reddit is people.
Yeah.
But really,
Reddit
let's
is
be
people
honest,
ripping people off.
Victor,
That's what
you
it
are
is.
super hot. And while you fix that, basically the only
Super
real way to make
hot.
money on Bitcoin is to
Super.
rip other people off who are trying
Yeah.
to invest in Bitcoin. That's it. There's nothing
Super.
else.
See, sure, but
Yeah,
I got
we
you
just
telling me
need-
I'm super hot,
Yeah,
but
you are.
yeah, but then I get like J-Ban saying that I'm super soft.
Yeah,
Like, I
he
don't
was
know
saying that like 15 minutes ago.
what- Okay, well there we go.
Yeah, he's wrong.
Yes.
I turned the hotness down.
You're better.
You're good.
Good now.
Yes.
You're good.
You're
Super
fine. You're fine. You're fine.
hot. Super.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that that's the only way that people really make money in Bitcoin
Yeah.
at this point.
So
is
we
ripping
need
people off.
to figure out how to rip people off while not getting.
It
Well,
seems
not
to be-
technically
arrested.
ripping people off.
It
Yeah.
seems to be pretty simple. All we have to do is use the right buzzwords, like blockchain.
That
Like,
just
if
gets
you
libertarian.
fucking say
Jeez.
blockchain, libertarians' eyes just fucking glaze over. You can tell them fucking anything. It's amazing.
Ooh,
You just need to be
blockchain.
confident. That's all that really matters.
We offer a Bitcoin compatibility based service utilizing the integral functions of blockchain technology to analyze the chains themselves and derive objective value. No, subjective value. There you go.
Someone has made a Chrome extension that adds on the blockchain at the end of every sentence.
Oh no, that broke it. No. Whew. Whew. I just turned on my dark mode Chrome extension and the Hangout window went black.
Oh no.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if it was nighttime and all dark, you wouldn't be able to see us very well.
True.
You can't beat that fucking logic, can you?
He's
No,
trying.
I think my brain just kind of seg-faulted. And I'm like, you know what? Leave that one alone.
Did you install the microcode patch too? You shouldn't have done that.
The what card patch?
The fix for the servers, apparently it's breaking VMware stuff.
Oh, yeah. What happened to that, there was that big
Oh,
vulnerability
no.
that came out
Yep.
that,
that's
was
the
like
thing.
architectural.
Well,
Scorpio?
It is,
No.
It isn't. It's called Spectre and Meltdown.
Spectre and Meltdown. Architectural based on,
Should I explain how
pre-execution?
this works?
please.
Do people want to
Please.
know?
Yes.
Do you
The
guys
people
know?
want to know.
The people want to know. Okay,
Namely
so
me.
a part of modern processors is that they are insanely fast, that they spend a lot of time sort of waiting for things to do. So one of the things they developed to try and keep processors busy was to look ahead in the code and see, okay, what's probably going to happen? And we'll just start doing that anyway. So the problem with that is, in some Intel chips, they had not been correctly stopping that speculative... that's called speculative execution, and they'd not been properly stopping that during a security thing. So, like, if you wrote a program that was trying to access, like, this is, least privilege, say JavaScript code, if you could write JavaScript code in such a way that you would ask for operating system private data, like passwords and security keys and everything, and the operating system should deny these things, and it would deny these things, but you could trick the processor into doing that ahead of time and then reading the results out of, like, CPU cache.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's not the best explanation. I've sort of, like, I could have had a better explanation prepared, but I'm just like, okay, how can I explain this?
No, I think I get it. I think I get it. Definitely a lot clearer than the number channel, the computer file explanation. Definitely a lot more understandable than theirs.
Any questions I can answer? Because I know a lot more. I'm just, pointed questions would help me figure this out.
Okay. So AMD at one point came out and said, yeah, doesn't affect us.
Mm-hmm.
¿Por qué?
They wrote a different speculative execution thing. They just, they
okay.
did a better job.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down is. The Intel chips were so obsessed with speed that they weren't properly enforcing privileges.
That's basically it. Is AMD doesn't allow speculation past privilege boundaries, and Intel does. And don't ask me what that fucking means. I have no clue. I am literally just parroting here.
I know what that means.
George, what does that mean now that I've said it?
It literally means the thing I just said. It's like
there you go.
AMD was doing a better job of enforcing privileges in the speculative execution model.
They have a more vigilant bouncer. Got it.
Yeah, basically, crappy least privilege program JavaScript can't access the kernel. It just says no. No, what are you doing? No, get the fuck out of here.
Get out of there, you.
Says no.
Get out of there with your coffee.
So, where this gets interesting for me is I've been reading a lot about what's called microcode. Apparently, you'd think that this sort of thing is like set in stone with a processor, but it isn't. It's actually somewhat programmable. You have to be a fucking wizard to program it. But basically there's one level between, like, the actual hardware. Like, there's what would you say the lowest level of programming language is? Assembly?
Assembly?
Yeah, there's actually below that. Assembly is like So microcode exists below that, but just above the hardware. It's weird, but they can actually send out, they can update that. They can update your processor with different instructions, so the speculative execution thing can actually be fixed.
So the microcode would be like the core instruction set of the architecture, like what makes x86 x86?
I don't know if that's equivalent. Now we're getting into the deep thing where I don't quite understand what's going on here because I don't quite get it microcode yet. But what I understand is it takes it adapts instructions to the hardware that it exists on. Like, you can write assembly that'll be backward compatible. Like, you can take x86. Like, if you go back to the first x86 processor, the 8086, you can write code on a modern computer in 8086 assembly, and it will run on a modern computer. Won't necessarily, well, I mean, it won't do much because an 8086 couldn't do much, but it will run because there's backwards compatibility built into assembly. Microcode is not the case. There's no backwards compatibility. Every microcode program, or whatever you'd call it,
instruction set or
is
something,
written for that specific processor.
Okay.
So, anyways, this gets back to what I said, is that Intel pushed out a update for their microcode to fix this thing. VMware took that and said, okay, we'll push this out. I applied said update, and apparently kinda broken.
Oh.
So I have to turn off speculative execution on all of my VMs because apparently if you install that microcode update and then you run VMs that have had an OS update, like the most up-to-date version of Windows or whatever, or Linux or whatever, whatever they've done to fix it, if that speculative execution code runs on this new microcode in a VM form, crashes the server.
Oh. Certainly not handy for servers.
Yep. No, especially considering, it's not just one server it's crashing. It's crashing
all
50,
the things.
50, 100, however many VMs you got running on one server.
Mm-hmm. Yikes. Well, Intel's putting out new processors, so
yeah, they're fixing it.
They're fixing it.
It is definitely a big deal. It's a thing that needs to be fixed, but it's not as like, oh my god, the world's ending as
oh my god. Yeah.
It's it's a thing.
Yeah. Speaking of the world ending, George, the House passed the bill to avoid a government shutdown
for a week.
It sinks in the Senate.
It's
leaving
just
Congress.
Literally.
Oh wait, you just said the House. Yeah, of course it passed the House. It's always going to fail on the Senate.
Yeah, the House just needs a simple majority. No, I'm actually watching the vote right now as it goes down, flaming. Actually, what it looks like is going on is 3 Republicans voted against, and 3 Democrats voted for. So it's going to end up going down in a bipartisan. The government's going to shut down because both Republicans.
Wait, hold on.
Three votes is not. Does
That's
not.
all.
Not,
guess what? You get one in this environment. You get one Republican or one Democrat to cross over. It becomes bipartisan. That's how it works. That's how it's been working for freaking the last 15 years or so. If you get a single like Obamacare got one Republican to vote for it in the House. And they were like, it's a bipartisan bill.
We call this a bipartisan success.
Yeah. They're like, oh, okay, we got it. But it looks like it's going down. Right now it's 50-48. And I assume it's probably going to end at, it'll probably be,
if they got 48, it's not happening.
No, they have 50, but they can need 60.
Yeah, they need, but you said it was 50-48.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not going to pass. I'm just curious where the last votes, the last people to break off. If it goes 50-50 and 3 Democrats switch over, that means 4 Republicans switched. because they have a 51 senator lead or majority. So it'll just be interesting to see who votes for what. That's all. I like to check that. In the end, it doesn't matter that much. The real reason is they have a freaking bipartisan bill that everybody agreed on in the Senate. They brought it to Trump, and that's when Trump said his own shithole comment and blew it up. Do you want to talk about that? Huh? You know, I was greeted to it from an email from a family member that sent me a picture of Obama in an article. Yeah, who knows? Where he's like, look, Obama called Libya a shithole. I'm like, yeah, he was talking about Libya's civil war. Like, not the people from those countries being shitty because they come from that. Like, that's like, context matters a lot. I don't understand why we play this game where people just don't believe in context anymore. They just take everybody's words completely literally. If they did, why aren't they taking Trump's words completely literally?
Because that's the way that makes them look bad, along with the other way, and every other fucking way.
Pick a direction.
Yeah.
It's literally just they have realized, I think, that there's not really any way they can make Trump's words look good, so they're just trying to make them look normal by dragging everyone else's words down to the similar level.
Yeah, it seems that way. Or they just don't understand English context, you know, what words actually mean. Like how you say it changes.
Entirely possible.
They probably just don't understand that anymore. Oh, you know, I realize I'm sitting here looking at a 50-48 vote, like wondering when they're going to get the last two votes in. But McCain is currently hospitalized, so he's not going to be voting. So I think the only person that hasn't voted probably is McConnell, who probably is debating whether he's going to vote no just so they can bring it up again. Because if he votes yes, they can't bring it up. So usually the leader of the Senate or the House, if they're going to lose a debate, they'll vote against it so that they have the ability to bring it up again.
Well, it's either that or he's thinking about whether he's turtly enough for the Turtle Club.
McConnell turtle jokes will never get old.
Well, of course not, because he looks like a fucking turtle.
So, I mean, we'll step back. Let's step back for a moment. So the government's going to shut down. Why the fuck does the United States of America have to figure out whether it's going to shut down or not every couple months? Why has our government gotten to this point?
Republican.
Brinksmanship.
Next question.
Yeah.
No other government runs into this problem.
Sure, but remind us again, what does the Australian government do in a case like this?
Governor General dissolves the entire government.
Yeah, they're like, you're all gone. Let's start elections again.
Well, folks, clearly this isn't work. This batch of people aren't working for democracy.
That's not the only thing that we can do. Like, our government, you know how sometimes in the US political system, bills and other initiatives can get, like, tied up for months, if not years? With, like, just weird disagreements and filibustering and shit like that?
Yeah, huh?
Well, our government can disagree itself out of existence.
If only ours could do that.
I am intrigued. Tell me more.
If they disagree on any particular anything a sufficient number of times, like if basically things get too deadlocked, it triggers a double dissolution election. The entire government goes.
Ooh.
Yep.
Man, I wish we could get that.
We have had a couple. We have had a couple of snap elections because a double dissolution was triggered due to not being able to agree on policy, or at least agree enough for something to pass.
Yeah.
Or fail.
I can't. I probably should look this up, but I was sitting there talking to somebody about it, and they were like, "Man, why are the Democrats just going to do what the Republicans did?" And I'm like, "Well,
why the fuck not?"
I'm like, "There's a lot of people. I mean, like, I don't agree with like shutting down the government, like in principle. Like, I feel like you should try to govern and like deal with like the hot button issues outside of the budget bill. Like the budget bill should be like, let's spend the money that we've budgeted so that everything works. And then you fight over, everything. You fight everywhere else, and you just let things kind of, roll forward. So like, I don't really agree with holding things hostage. However, like they were supposed to renew CHIP. CHIP is a wildly popular program that both sides like. And they were like, oh, well, we'll use this to make the Democrats have to vote to keep the government open. But it's something that everybody wants. It's not a good negotiating piece because everybody wants children to have health care. I mean, except for probably some like libertarian members of the Republican Party. Most people want kids to have health care regardless.
Well, to be fair, there are some libertarian members of the libertarian members of the Republican Party who are very dedicated to healthcare. I mean, look at Rand Paul. He is so dedicated to providing healthcare as a medical professional that when the board refused to certify him, he created his own board and certified himself.
Yep. Yeah,
P.S. The Pauls are fucking crazy.
No, they are. It was.
I know it's not 2012 anymore, but like, let's just have a bit of nostalgia about when the fucking Paul family were the craziest thing in the U.S. government.
They were the only the Paul family. I'm not sure if it was Ron or Rand Paul, but they're the ones who voted against telling West Africa in general, "Hey, don't kill albinos. It's bad."
Well. They philosophically believe that they shouldn't tell other countries what to do.
Fuck off! It's just a letter!
I know, right? That's where it's like, come on, guys. Like, I know you got your ideals. We're not ordering them and saying we're going to shoot them. Like, chances are we're probably just saying we're not going to give them money, which you probably also agree with. So you might want to be in favor of that.
Maybe.
I don't know. And then on top of that, you got DACA, right? Which, let's say everybody goes like, oh, well, I like DACA, but I don't like how Obama did it. So we would totally do well, I mean, the argument, it makes sense, right? I mean, like, technically Obama overstepped his executive privilege to extend DACA protections. However, the point of the protections was to make sure that people weren't immediately being deported when they were in this situation. And the idea was that within like a few days or months of doing this order, that Congress would pass a law which would permanently protect this group of people. And now, if you're not familiar with DACA, you should Google it. But it's generally people who have grown their whole entire life in the United States. And you're going to send them back to like Mexico, and these are people from Mexico who don't know Spanish necessarily because they were like 1 year old when they came over here. And now we're going to ship those people back to their countries where they don't know anybody. In some cases where other members of their family are U.S. citizens and they get to stay where the other people have to leave. So it's like, maybe we want to do something for these people. And you know what? The American public, who's generally been, kind of pretty conservative on immigration issues, agrees. Like, strongly, even Republicans. And you'd think we would have a plan, but we do not. And now we're using that as hostages as well. And so the Democrats were just like, F you guys, you're not going to go forward on this because the Republican Party has become a bunch of nativist assholes. So, which you guys used to like immigration, but now you don't. So, get with the program, and we're going to shut down the government if you don't, just do the two things you said you were going to do. And on top of that, to continue my rant,
Trump
said he would sign anything that came across his desk, and they brought him a deal. The Republicans and Democrats made a deal, brought it to him, and again, like I said, he freaking shot it down. So that's why we're here. And you know what? It sucks that children aren't going to get health care because we're going to shut the freaking government down while a bunch of programs run out of money. But you know what? Our government's become super dysfunctional. Until we have a bunch of people that aren't fucking assholes, this is what's going to have to happen. Done.
See, I take the like Warhammer 40,000 orcish position on Daka. Daka is good. More Daka is better.
It does sound like an Orcish word.
And also, like, I don't think we can really call this brinksmanship anymore. Because the Republicans have already demonstrated they're completely willing to just straight over the brink like a fucking ill-fated game of chicken in a Lifetime special movie about teenagers with cars. Just straight over the gap, straight into the air, fucking heading for the bottom of the cliff. They don't give a shit as long as they think they can get what they want. Because their philosophy is not that it's brinksmanship, their philosophy is the exact same as a fucking extremely hormonally confused teenage boy playing chicken in the 50s. Is that all they have to do is hold their foot on the accelerator until the other guy stops. Except they're not quite realizing that, like, their demonstration that they are willing to do it is just much worse for them than anyone else. Except for all the millions of people they hurt in the process. So basically they're crashing their car off a cliff into millions of people. It's a very big car. I lost track of this somewhere.
Well, here's the crazy part, right? Like, let's say there's I forget exact numbers on how many people are affected by DACA, but I've heard, it's many thousands, and you got to realize that those people have friends who are also voters, and you have, like, I was listening to a report where they were sending this one guy away, and all the people with him as he was getting deported were all these, like, people who you typically do not associate with being really pro-immigration. And they were all sitting there, like, super angry that their friend and coworker that they've worked with for, like, the last 15 years, fellow union worker, like, was getting deported, and he wouldn't be able. And the worst part is it's something about the fact that they can't even try to come back for like 10 years. Like, they have to literally wait 10 years to come back. And it's just, it's just a train wreck. And, the funniest problem that is, the thing that's really killer is if you take out all these people instead of making them U.S. citizens, which I assume they're just afraid to make them U.S. citizens at this point because they figure they're going to vote Democratic, and that's the really horrific part of this, is that's the actual reason that people have illustrated. They're like, oh, well, if we make them all citizens, there'll be a bunch of Democrats. And Arizona, like, some freaking official was just like, in Arizona currently, the majority of students in the elementary schools are Hispanic, which means that Arizona will be soon a Hispanic state. It's like, yeah, guess what? They'll be Americans. That's all that matters. They're freaking Americans. It doesn't matter what the freak their race is. It matters that they're Americans, guys.
Well, no, Scojo. It doesn't matter to us what their race is. For many people, unfortunately, people who are Latino or of Hispanic descent are considered undesirables, and they want to keep them, the undesirables, from coming into power. And it is deplorable and ridiculous and completely undermines the fundamental philosophy of the foundation of America.
So you're telling me, white folk, that immigration undermines the real America?
Immigration defines America.
Yeah, see, again, this is just another one of those cases
until it doesn't define the America we want.
Yeah, this is another one of those cases where I always thought that, Republicans were supposed to be the people that believed in, like, the American ideal, and then they just shit upon it at the first chance they get. Like, I always thought Republicans were the American exceptionalists, that they're like, we are this shining city on the hill, and everybody wants to be us, blah, 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 right? However, every chance they get, they shit upon our ideals of accepting the people from other places that want to come here and integrating those people into our society. It just drives me nuts. I can't wait till the Republican Party has some sort of reckoning within their own party, and I don't know, maybe we'll finally get rid of these people again. I am not sure when that will happen, but at some point we need two governing parties and not one party just full of a-holes. Until we get rid of the a-hole party and like replace it with a party that actually wants to be responsible, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Maybe like the RNC could get hit by like a massive lightning strike.
Well, I'm hoping. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that a whole bunch of people in the RNC and related groups are going to go down in money laundering schemes when it find out that Russia's been just throwing money into all these different organizations like the NRA, and they've just been lapping up all this foreign money, and it just turns out that they're all traitors when it comes down to break in election rules. I mean, the NRA spent triple. I believe it's triple the amount that they spent 4 years earlier when they were supporting Romney on Trump. And where'd that money come from? Who knows? The part of the part of the organization that used all that money doesn't have to report anything, because that's totally legit.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if all of them did get caught, like accepting all this money from the Russians, and even if they got caught literally taking orders from Putin himself, do you know what they would say?
They're not Obama.
They would say, "Nah, comrade, what's wrong with it?
Yeah,
we're in power now. What you gonna do?" They don't give a fuck as long as it furthers their own goals.
So the other two really funny things.
You're making the basic assumption that they have a sense of, I don't know, like shame, of like maybe duty or embarrassment or something that would make them feel bad if they actually got caught doing this.
Enough do.
They do not.
It's been pretty apparent that Lindsey Graham has been sucking up to Trump this whole time because he's been trying to get his DACA deal through Trump. It was hilarious because we were all sitting here for the last couple of weeks going like, what the hell happened to Lindsey Graham? He just started like sucking up to Donald Trump. He went he was like calling Trump deranged and like all this stuff. And then he goes golfing with Trump and comes out and like talks about how his golf skills are better than like Tiger Woods, and like just starts like, kissing his butt as much as he possibly can.
It's obvious.
And then he goes forward with his deal that just got knocked down. And he comes out of it and he's just like, Trump fucked up. And as you can just see, he just voted against Graham just voted to shut down the government because he's just like, fuck you guys. Like, you just screwed me over. We had a deal. We did everything you said. I just sucked like your, I'm going to be trying to not.
Yeah, we got it.
And then he... I just, man. And then it worked for him. And then, there's so much going on right now. The two literal other stories that I didn't really see covered much is one, Flake, a GOP senator who's retiring, got up in front of Congress and compared Trump to Stalin this week. Did you watch that speech? Did you see it reported all over the place?
I heard nothing about it. Yeah. And doesn't that speak volumes?
You should see. It's a great speech. Like, Flake, a complete a-hole in terms of I don't agree with him on almost anything. However, you know what? He at least calls it like it is in these speeches, and I can respect that with people. At this point, that's all I need out of my Republicans. Like, at least, be honest. And true to your own. People get mad because like Flake doesn't like Trump, right? But he still votes for like the tax bill. Guess what, guys? He's still a Republican. He's still gonna want to give tax cuts to the rich. But the fact that he gets up there and like gives it and like is actively, being anti-Trump on the floor is a big deal. But you can't expect him to undercut his whole ideology. So, and then on top of that, the biggest story that I feel like is not getting covered as much as it really should be is they've definitively proven that Trump was sleeping with a porn star right after his last kid was born, a year after he was married, for like a year. And they
What happened to the Republican Party where this would have been career-ending?
They have a document that shows that they made another corporation to pay this porn star. It wasn't like he was just sleeping with his secretary. He was sleeping with a porn star, which he paid $150K to right before he started his campaign so that she wouldn't talk. And the story got out, and Fox News and a bunch of other news sites decided not to run with it at that point in time. Mainly because I think the Pussygate had just occurred. But, oh my God, could you imagine? I can't even imagine if another politician had that story break on them in any other time. Their career would be over. And yet, here we are. I just don't know what to do anymore. I don't know when Mueller comes forward and says, like, yeah, you know, Trump's been money laundering like a ton of money from all these like corrupt and mafia and, you know, Russian things and blah, blah, blah. Like he didn't collude, but he just accepted a whole bunch of dirty money so he could profit off of it. Like no one's going to care. Nothing's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that we're just going to like fold into a Russian style kleptocracy if we don't, you know, get Congress back into anybody but a Republican's hand at this point, because holy crap, this sucks, and I don't understand how. I just don't understand.
The United States seriously needs to have a proverbial coming to God moment. Kind of get squared off. Dude,
like there's people out there who are Republican and conservative, and I don't agree with their like stances on stuff, but I respect the fact that they're, you know, they actually say what they believe and they do it, and they're not a bunch of like a-holes like Bill Kristol, like Evan McMillan, like the people like that who are like the conservatives. They might have opinions that they don't view. The difference is they do not view the other side as like enemies or just like people who are like terrible
monsters.
People. Yeah, they want to have a debate. And they want to, it's not sticking it to the libs. Or like, let's just destroy everything Obama did. You know, they want to have a actual debate and, you know, they might disagree. And that's where we need to get back to. And I'm not sure how we do that. Like most of the people that I see that really like Trump, they just don't believe in that anymore. And that's like 30% of the population. I'm sure another 8 to 9% are just like rich people who are like, yeah, I'm getting my business is doing really well.
You know what it is? It's no longer democracy. It's the team mentality. You know, when you blindly support your sports team. You know, that's what it is. Fandom. There you go. Fandom.
Fans are okay. Fandom, don't
God
fandom.
Awful. Fandom is terrible.
Yep.
All right, folks. Well, that is about it. We're not gonna. We had one more topic, but we went on about politics, which I feel kind of deserves the time a bit more. So that is it for this week. Next week there will be no show because. What? Yeah, I know.
Next week FMPL shutdown. Me and Victor just can't agree.
Yeah, we're done. We disagree philosophically, and there's going to need to be a reckoning. Many votes will need to take place.
I'm still saying Hawaiian pizza is perfectly acceptable, and there is something wrong with you if you can't accept that.
How dare you put words in my mouth? It's that kind of lying that is what causes this strife. Because I'm the one who thinks Hawaiian pizza is awesome. You're the one who insists on putting Vegemite and Spam on it. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
We don't eat Spam. What? That's Hawaii.
Anyways. Next week I'm going to be performing in Anime Los Angeles. Gonna be doing I'm gonna be there. Why did I try to open another instance of Adobe Audition? I need to open up Excel. That's what I need to open up.
I've done that before.
Yep. Well, the icons are both green. I'm going to be doing the workshop, So You Want to Make an Audio Drama. Going to be DJing for an hour, Music of Japan outside anime. It's going to be a very chill music lounge sort of deal. Going to be doing interviews with Monster Girls and Origin of Species of Lores. They have me scheduled for 2 autograph sessions, but I think I might just blow one of them off. ALA's next top panelist. That is happening. Got the training session and the actual performance session. It's going to be great. We got some good judges. Ezra Weiss
Pound.
is
Fuck.
What? Ezra Weiss is might be one of the judges. We got senior staff from conventions around Southern California who are going to be there as well. And the winner wins a slot in next year's schedule for Anime Los Angeles. Steven Universe is happening. Pokemon Go for Broke. The Wonderful World of K-Cars. Moe on Wheels. And then Click Click Boom sound in video games. So doing a lot of stuff at ALA. Oh, and I'm also singing during the halftime show of the Burlesque, which I ended up filling in last minute for someone last year, but it was so much fun. I'm doing it this year too. So, so I got about 13 3/4 hours worth of programming I'm doing.
I would also like to point out that last week's show, we said that we could only go for about an hour. Everyone but Victor try and guess how long we went for. Price is Right rules. Highest without going over.
2 hours.
Hour
Okay.
45.
Hey.
George is closest without going over barely. Wait, did he say an hour 45?
He said an hour 45.
Oh, then you both lose.
Yeah.
It was 59 minutes and 57 seconds.
Thank you.
Victor started trying to wrap it up, and I realized that, oh shit, we were actually not that far off an hour, so I was trying to see if I could get it to just a hair over an hour.
Yes, so, Anime Los Angeles is what's happening next week. I'm gonna try to live stream, as many of my panels as I possibly can. But this is the year where I'm going to be trying to record everything as well, so we'll get some of that stuff going on up there. It is very important, however, at this point to thank all of the wonderful people who help support this channel on Patreon, starting with you, George. Thank you, George, for your continuing support.
Woo.
Woo, woo. Apart from George, we gotta thank Dexter Colders, our Gorgian, Rin Senpai, Funeral Cleavage, Rochelle Mantanona, Geek Nights Podcast, Brenda Brothers, Gina Moreno, Pinipsis, and Ethan Fryer, and Yaddle for their support of the channel each month. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, you can find a link in the doobly-doo, I think. Failing that, patreon.com/Victor Frost will get you there. And that is it for this week. You'll catch us next time, whenever that is, on Acceptable Vices. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
And a good night from George, too.